Hello, vibrant souls. Welcome back to another episode of the Nereyda Ramirez podcast. We are on episode 31. Whoop whoop. And like always, thank you so much for being here on Spotify, on YouTube, and on Apple. Super, super grateful for your presence. So, one of the things that I do feel called and I do feel in some way obligated to share on this episode is our most recent obvious presidential election here in the United States. But before I comment or say anything on that, I would love to share a prayer called the Serenity Prayer. And this is how it goes. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking, as Jesus did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right. If I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and simply happy with you forever in the next. Amen. So, wanted to share that. But elephant in the room, right? If I move forward with any episodes, I feel like it's going to be an obvious thing in the room. And I do feel called to simply comment or share something about it. So, Trump is our new president, and there are many, many, many different mixed feelings in our nation and actually in the world because of that. And I could feel it. I can totally feel the differences. I can totally feel the separation. I can totally feel the anxiety, the fear. I could see the joy and the happiness of others, and I don't necessarily relate to them. I don't understand it. And in this platform and the way that I'm sharing, I'm super open to explore. I'm super open to have a political conversation with you with the intention to simply explore and to ponder out loud and to share our own personal experiences and perspectives and viewpoints. This is not a you are right or this is not a you are wrong type of discussion. It's never been like that in any of my episodes, and it's not going to start being like that just because of what I'm expressing. So I just really wanted to point that out, right? There's there's much going on. And I would love to share a little bit of my own feelings and thoughts with it. And of course, if you don't relate, if you have questions, again, I'm very open to talk about it. Very, very open to talk about it, to explore, again, to ponder out loud. I'm not open to arguing to see who's right and to create more separation between you and I. So, yeah, so I could feel definitely the anxiety. It feels like there's a lot that is up in the air in terms of our women rights, in terms of environmental laws in our environment. It feels like there's so much up in the air in terms of our relationships with other countries, with our own economy, with the economy with other countries. It feels like there's so much just within our own people. It feels that even within our own country, there's a lot of separation, and that makes me feel very sad. It makes me feel that even as a country, we literally cannot be united. And I don't know, maybe other countries have similar experiences. I'm not too sure. I mean, it seems at some point there is some kind of separatedness within countries, right? But at the same time, I have just like this feeling that we're in the 21st century and we've been through so much as a country. We've observed or learned so much from like our textbooks or from other countries and how they've dealt with stuff. And to this day, there's still so much fucking separation. And that is something that I cannot comprehend. I don't understand. I don't understand some of the new plans and act. I don't understand some of the new just regulations or laws that are wanting to come in place. I don't understand just a lot. And as my friends and I explore out loud and share our feelings and our vulnerabilities within each other, the only thing that I keep expressing is just, I don't know. I don't know. And, oh, I'm going to start tearing up. Last night, I was watching like TikTok videos and I was watching these videos of the new president in Mexico and just how she was, initiated and just how she was welcomed into the country and just seeing how beautiful it was to see kind of like a community and a support um like around her and just all this, right? It just felt so loving. I literally felt as if I was stuck in detention for not just an after school, an hour, 30 minutes type of thing, but for the next 4 years. And there's a whole other classroom or school that is going on this amazing field trip. And there's so much hope and exploration and so much unity and so much love and support. That's what it felt like. And I don't know, it just really made me tear up and um yeah, it was so that's where I'm at with that. That is where I'm at with what's going on in our country. um I feel like I'm experiencing all of this to an extent, and just I could see and feel other people around me feeling it so much more, feeling it so much more intense, so much more, just so much more. And of course, it's people that I love, right? It's people that are close to me. It's people that just are within my energy space, my world, and my personal life. So it just hurts a little bit. Maybe I'm downplaying a little part. It just hurts. It hurts that I'm seeing these people that I love and that I care about filled with that much more fear and anxiety and worrisome, and it just sucks, and I don't wanna downplay it. And one of the things that I was expressing to one of my really good friends is that, like, I hope I'm wrong, like, I hope that I'm not seeing something, like, I hope that, you know, I don't know, like, I have a whole lot of hope in something, and she had mentioned something really good about that, which I actually have to reread the text messages, because we were talking about it, but she had mentioned something along the lines of, let me see if I can go back. I think I can share this. Hopefully um, let me see. Okay, so having a conversation, trying to find like the silver lining in it, and I had messaged my friend to just like get some clarity and hear what she said because it made sense and there was like truth in there, and I really wanted to hold on to that, right? Because as much as I want to hold on hope, and that's just who I am, and as much as I'm trying to find a silver lining in it and just trying to grasp onto something, right? Um with it, one of the things that she had mentioned, and I hopefully it's okay to share, is um I don't agree with this mindset of let's see the silver lining because we can fall into a trap of permissiveness. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. um and of course, like there was more, right? There was more in the conversation, and it just the way that she had mentioned it, and even in person, it just gave me this feeling of maybe it's okay to just be in these feelings, right? Like, maybe it's okay to just be in what I just shared and try not to, um, try not to hold on to like some kind of hope, or like it's okay to just be in this shit, right? So I guess that's where I'm at. Yeah. What's it called? Let me share one more text message. So it was, I shared something, they become permissive of all the shit he's done and all the shit he wants to do. So, and we went into this conversation, or it was just like a conversation that we had earlier of how, it's like the choosing of sexism, of money, of just all this other stuff. And again, we just don't understand. So that is my little rant on what is going on in the US with the most recent, obviously the most recent, I don't know why I say that, with the presidential election. And Joe Rogan came out, with last little thing. But Joe Rogan came out with having Trump, on his podcast, and I fucking love Joe Rogan. So I listened to him so much during COVID. I listened to him, literally he was like my main person every day, or almost every day. And I still listen to him now here and there. And I was even trying to listen to the podcast. I haven't listened to it. But again, just with that openness, how I mentioned with this beginning of this episode, with the openness of trying to understand, of trying to maybe have some kind of hope, or I don't know, just trying to gain clarity, or I don't know, just even trying again to just understand and be educated on on that part of it. So we can never be educated enough. So I think at this point it's just doing our own research and being aware and being mindful, and I don't know. I just keep saying that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I guess the only thing that we could really do in this given moment as I sit here and I talk about it is just to be in the present moment. Right? To be in the present moment, and yeah. So with that, that's my little rant for what's been going on these last couple of days in the US. And one of the things that I wanted to also just share, right? Because I'm all about gratitude. I'm all about soaking in gratitude, and I share these videos online of like, hey, what are your 3 things that you're grateful for? And I'm having an event coming up December 15th from 11 to noon in Yorba Linda. So if you're interested, reach out. And it's going to be an event where I'm hosting, and I'm also leading you through a guided meditation to yourself, to connection with yourself, and to gratitude. So I'm all about gratitude. And one of the things that I always think about when it comes to gratitude is this guy who wrote Rewiring Happiness. Let me get his name. Rewiring. And I read this book while I was in Vietnam. All right, let me see. Maybe it was when did I read this book? I want to say that I did a book club about it when I came back actually from Vietnam. It is a very scientific book, and it's Rewired Happiness, or actually it's called Hardwiring Happiness by Rick Hansen, The New Brain Science of Contentment, Calm, and Confidence. So one of the things that I got from that book is to soak in these good feelings, to soak in good feelings, because the more we soak them in, the more we create them, the more we create the space for them. And he had mentioned something, or he had wrote something along the lines how we do that when we're negative. We do that when things are not going well. We soak in it, and just in that space, like we create more of it. So he had posted like a question of, well, why not do the same with happiness? Like, why not do the same with like gratitude? It might be butchering a little bit. It's been a while, but that's what I got from that. Um, so since then, gratitude has really become, I think gratitude has actually always been a thing for me since I was like a kid. And just logically, scientifically knowing more about it came from this book. So it just, now I think about that all the time. And one of the things that let me see, he had wrote is you can rewire your brain to be happy by simply recalling 3 things that you're grateful for every day for 21 days. You know what? I'm gonna do like a social media challenge with this. Screenshot, because that's pretty cool. Um, yes, I'm reading more quotes about it. But okay, so yes, so I totally support gratitude. I encourage it. I freaking do it more often, do it 3 times a day. In fact, you can even do it right now. Like, what are 3 things that you're grateful for? And one of the things that I wanted to talk about is if we don't feel grateful, that's okay too, right? That's why I put in here. If you're on YouTube, you can see it. On the title, it's probably going to say F gratitude on Spotify and Apple. So sometimes fuck gratitude, right? Like sometimes we won't feel it. And I'm not saying like a whole day. I'm saying like in the moment when you're trying to touch base and you're trying to think of something that you're grateful for, then fuck it. Like we just don't feel gratitude in that given moment, in that given second. But try again in like 20 minutes. Try again within an hour. But in that moment, in that second, right, when you don't feel it, don't force yourself. Don't resist it. Don't give yourself shit for it. It's okay. And so it kind of lines up, makes a connection with what's happening, right? With this whole thing where a lot of people are not feeling grateful. They're not in these spaces of joy and happiness. And it's okay. It's totally okay for a moment in time. Now I'm not saying soak in the F gratitude. Like don't do that. Definitely don't do that. But in the given moment, it's okay not to feel that because we're human beings and we're going to have a bunch of different emotions. So the last couple of days or so, even before the whole election thing, I couldn't feel gratitude, and it wasn't like, I've been learning and growing so much in that space where there's moments like even months or years ago, right, where if I didn't feel it, I was giving myself shit like, fuck, I can't find anything that I'm grateful for. I can't like feel it. I can't see it. Like right now I just don't feel grateful for anything. But at the same time as I was saying that or telling that to myself, it was making me feel sad. It was making me feel, I don't want to say like a good person, but it was making me feel like a shitty person. It was making me feel like super ungrateful, like an ungrateful child for some reason. It was making me feel more shitty about whatever I was going through or simply about my day. It literally felt like I was going into kind of like a dark rabbit hole and I was like staying in it because not only am I not grateful and I don't feel it and I don't see it, now I have this like added narrative and judgment on that. And just boom, it would go into some type of rabbit hole and I would be in it for a couple of hours. So it's in the moment when you don't feel it, when you don't see it, it's just accepting it that it's just in the moment. And even then, when we're in that space, I would even challenge you to just look at something that's beautiful. Look at something that maybe has made you feel loved or that has made you feel like has put a smile on your face. So though there's much going on this week with what I just said of the elections, there's been moments of gratitude and it's just it's where I'm at now, right? Like today, yesterday, the previous day, where it's reflecting in my moment. Let's say right now, right? Like I'm reflecting on 3 things that I'm grateful for. And right now, I could feel it. I could sense it. I'm in it. And one, it's because I'm doing this podcast episode and I'm always having a good time when I do these episodes. I'm always just really in my zone when I'm doing these episodes. I'm really just in my bubble and it makes me grateful. And this is like fun for me. So I'm grateful that I could do this right now, right? Like I'm grateful that I have my laptop, that I have my microphone. I'm grateful that I made the time for it. I'm leaving to Canada tomorrow for the training, so I'm grateful for this. In this given moment, right? The second as I reflect and I ponder, it's like, oh, like I'm so grateful for my tribe of friends. And I keep mentioning them, I feel like in the last episode and previous episode, but it's like boy, have they made me feel so loved, even when I haven't been feeling grateful, even when I haven't been feeling my joyful self. Like, boy, do I feel grateful for their presence, for them simply being themselves, because it makes me feel supported. Even whether we talk about what's going on within myself or not, just their presence is so supportive. It's so loving, and it's so nice to simply be in somebody else's energy. So again, in the moment, right? The third thing that I would be grateful for in this moment is my ability to travel. Like, I'm going to Canada tomorrow and I have this training, and I'm so excited to learn, and I'm so excited to learn deeper about this practice of proven field that I'm learning. So again, this is right now in this given moment. And 3 days ago, 4 days ago, maybe 5 days ago, I wasn't in this space. I think it was a couple, even just a couple of days ago, I was questioning, like, what is the purpose of life? Like, it's in like, I think I had a day or 2, maybe 2 days where it was like, "Oh my god, life feels so gray. Like, what's the purpose of it? I don't see it." There's, like, death that's been popping up. There's, like, a breakup that I'm still processing and grieving. There is just, like, sometimes we just get in these spaces. There's much that some other stuff that's happening, and it was just like, what's the purpose? Like, I've experienced love, I experienced gratitude, I experienced, and then there's like all of this. And maybe I was in my traveling, coming back home blues, but it was very much like I don't feel grateful. Like, I don't feel it, I don't see it. And this time around, like, I didn't give myself shit for it. I didn't add the narrative. It was just like, okay, like, it's present, it's here, and it's okay. And one of the great things about, like, sharing and being open and just having, like, the tribe of people that you feel safe with and trusting is that sometimes they can fucking burst it with their energy or with a question or with a simple conversation. So I hung out with my friend the other night and I was telling her about it, and I really wanted to just, like, tear up because I could feel just that space, right? Like, yeah, just this is where I'm at right now. And just me expressing it and sharing it out loud and us talking about our age and just other stuff in this conversation, it gave me a different perspective of, like, oh, what is the meaning of my life as I enter my 30s? Like, maybe I've been trying to fit the meaning of my life of my 20s into who I am now, and it's no longer fitting. And that resonated. She didn't say that, but that's what popped up for me, and that just as it popped up, it really resonated with my heart, with my soul, and I've been sitting on it. I've been sitting on it because it's a good question. If I felt some kind of energy with that question, it was like, okay, let me sit with it because there's something here, right? Like, excuse me. Excuse me, I just burped. But my friend had mentioned some really good points on just that topic of conversation for herself. And again, it just kept making me ponder within myself and my own reflections. And that's what I'm sitting with, right? I'm excited to go to Canada, and, we have like those one-on-one sessions. I'm really excited to bring it to the table and explore that, because it's like the desire of being a mom has popped up, and I've never had the desire. And it's like, oh, like, is that the meaning of my life as I enter my 30s? Like, wanting to have this partnership and this committed, united, like, marriage, like, pops up, and it's like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, okay, like, is that adding to the meaning of my life as I enter my 30s, right? Like, career wise, like, I started school, and the idea of, like, what I want to do with the training in Canada and this career path that I'm choosing in terms of my master's, like, what does that look like? Right? Like, there's just so many new things that are happening as I enter my 30s, where now it makes me ponder on, oh, what's the new meaning of my life, the new purpose of my life? Because obviously everything of what I'm doing is not the same thing as when I was 25, 21, 18. And even there's so much that has happened in terms of my growth and wisdom and changes and feelings and openings within myself and vulnerability, just like so much that same thing, it's not the same as like 3 years ago, as 5 years ago, as 10 years ago. So, all of that to say that when we feel in those spaces of fuck gratitude, or when we feel like there's moments of just gray streaks of paint in our days or in our weeks, that it definitely helps to talk to somebody, that it definitely helps to share it with somebody that you feel safe with, that you feel supported by, that you feel loved by. Because in those moments, it really helps you, even you just talking out loud, even as I'm sharing in this podcast episode, it's helping me pop more of that bubble, and I can feel the shift in energy of those gray bleaks kind of still being present, changing into colorful streaks of excitedness and of a new sense of hope, of a new sense of adventure, of a new sense of like bravery and encourage. So it definitely, just to emphasize so much on how much it helps to share it with another person. Ah, I feel so grateful. I feel really, really grateful for my friends, for my tribe of people. Um, I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna sit with that. Yeah. So encourage you to share it out loud. So yeah, so just pondering out loud, right? So in those moments when you feel gratitude, don't add narrative, don't add stories, don't give yourself shit for it. Just sit with it. Sit in the moment that you don't feel grateful, and that's okay. And try again in an hour. Try again in 2 hours. Try again maybe at the end of the day, right? Because our days progress. Even in those moments too, it's like you can even say a prayer. So, as you know, if you've been listening to my podcast for a while, or if you've been following me for a while, prayer is huge. And I have now Baba, like a little circle of Baba in my car, and I'll literally just talk to him. I mean, you can have Jesus, you can have Buddha, you can have the Virgin Mary, whoever you decide to pray to. You can even just look at a picture or imagine them in your mind and just tell them, like, I don't feel fucking grateful today. Please guide me through the day. I don't feel fucking grateful today. Please give me something to be grateful for. Please shine something that I can be grateful for. Please shine something about my day. Please encourage me to shift my day around. So prayer is huge, and I totally encourage it as well. So yeah, so one of the things that I actually did also with these streaks of gray that just were present in my life the last couple of days before Trump election, and it wasn't that long, it was just like a couple of days, is that I surrounded myself with friends. I surrounded myself, even again, even though I didn't talk about it with certain friends, it was still that space of laughter together. It was still that space of enjoyment, of dancing. It was still that space of just exploring other things out loud, right? And even like the other things that popped up, right? Like even if I didn't mention my gray streaks of gray, like we still have these conversations about like death and about, these struggles in our lives or these challenges in our lives and just what we're trying to do. And again, it's just holding each other energetically in that space also helps, right? It just helps something within us. So yeah, so I don't know if I said it already. I don't know if I've given you the space for it, but in this moment in time, I want you, if you can, I don't know if you're driving. If you're driving, that's okay. Don't close your eyes. But in this given moment, I want you to think about 3 things that you're grateful for today. 3 things that has put a smile to your face. 3 things that put a smile to your face. 3 things that made you feel loved, that made you feel supported. 3 things that made you feel less alone. 3 things that maybe you have in your life now that you didn't have last year or even just a couple months ago. I want you to name 3 things and say this out loud to yourself. Wherever you're at, say it out loud to yourself. I am grateful for this. And be specific. Don't just be like, I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for my drive. No, 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 no. Be specific. Just how I mentioned earlier. Name it, state why, state even the why and the feelings on what it brings up in your body and in your heart. So state those three things. So yeah, take some time. And whatever pops up, if you have my personal number, I would love, love, love for you to shoot me a message and tell me those three things in specifics. Please and thank you. And if you're watching on YouTube, comment down below. And if you're watching on Apple or Spotify, shoot me a message on Instagram because I would love to hear it. So that is what I have to say about that. Let me see. Let me check out. Yeah, so then oh my god, I'm sorry. I keep burping. Ah! So yeah, with gratitude, it's practice, right? Like it's a lot of practice and it gets easier. It totally gets easier to be okay with the times when you don't feel grateful. It gets easier to feel the gratitude the more we practice it and to see it and to feel it and just practice it. And even in those moments, again, when you don't feel it, just state something that's beautiful in front of you. State something that maybe another person is probably feeling grateful for, right? So, yeah, so that also helps. There's a lot of just teachings around gratitude in terms of, how it makes your life lighter. And yes, like the more you're in these spaces of gratitude, the more you manifest really good things in your life. And how when you're in this state of gratitude, how not only just things in your life, right, but you manifest so many more peaceful feelings and gratitude feelings and joyful feelings. And I also very much believe in that. Like I feel like I'm living it and like walking through it. And that's why it feels very important for me to also share that sometimes when we don't feel it, like it's okay. And we're human beings. Like we're not going to feel gratitude all the fucking time. We're not going to feel gratitude every single second of our lives, but just like anything, it's practice to cultivate it, to nurture it, to really enmesh with it and to live in and to really live through it and walk through it and live again through it. So with that said, let me see. I'm trying to look for like a quote. Let's see. Living in a state of gratitude is the gateway to grace. I like that one. Totally, totally like that one. Let me see what else. What else? What else is another one? Let's see. The more you practice the art of thankfulness, the more you have to be thankful for. Mm. I like this one too. To be grateful is to recognize the love of God in everything. Oh, I really, really like that one. I really, really like that one. Let's see. Okay, let's see this one. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Aw! Oh my god! That is so sweet! Oh my god, that totally relates a little bit to what I was saying, how some days we're gonna have just these blakes of gray and yeah, like another person comes in with their light and it brings that flame within us. And also, we do that for other people. So also don't forget the power that you have to light another person, right? So one of the things too with that is that when we practice gratitude, when we walk in gratitude, all of what I just said, we are also that light for other people when they're feeling that streak of gray in their lives, right? And even without saying anything, just our presence could be that light for another person. And if we also provide that safe space where we make them feel heard and we make them feel safe and they're able to express whatever they're going through, it's like that space alone that we provide can also pop their own bubble and can also pop like their own perspectives or their shifts in energy. So also don't underestimate how much your own light and your own flame within can really, 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 really paint these vibrant, colorful streaks in another person's life. So don't underestimate your playing, your strengths. Don't underestimate your presence and your joy and everything that you bring to the table. So yeah. So I'm gonna say that again. I'm gonna send this to my friends. So like, oh my god, this made me think of you. Yeah. Okay. So with that said, I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I would love to share. So right now, I just want to take a deep breath. Take a deep breath with me wherever you're at. So put your hand on your chest and put your hand on your belly. Close your eyes if you want. And let's just take a deep breath together. And breathe out. Let's do that again. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. And one more time. Deep breath in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Sweet. So I'm going to say that quote one more time. And with that, thank you again so much for being here. So, and don't forget to share it with a friend, to subscribe, to like, and do all that good stuff. So here's a quote. At times, our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. It's by Albert Schweitzer. I don't know who that is. But also stay tuned. Okay, two last things before I go. One is stay tuned because my episode 32 is going to be part of the Vibrant Unknown series. I'm going to Canada tomorrow for that Rubenfeld training, and I'm going to be out there until the 18th. Yes. So best believe that I'm taking my microphone, I'm taking my laptop, and I'm going to be recording a podcast episode in Goderich, Canada. So stay tuned. I have no idea what it's going to be about, but stay tuned. I have different topics that people have suggested. I just haven't touched on them. So maybe I'll do that. Two, just to repeat it, my meditation event is December 15th from 11 to noon in Yorba Linda. We're going to be focusing on this connection with ourselves and self-love and gratitude. So if you're interested, if you've been feeling lost, if you've been feeling disconnected, if you've been feeling like you need clarity or want clarity, if you're simply also just curious to learn more about this stillness and this connection with self, then the event is definitely for you. And I would love to personally invite you through this way of communicating to come and join. So it's going to be an amazing time. We're all going to leave with a sense of stillness and with this gratitude. So yeah, so with that said, I hope you guys have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your night or your evening. So much, much, much love.